Hi, fourth grade. Today we're going to be studying multiples. Let's go ahead and look at the definition of a multiple. The multiples of a number are all the products that have that number as a factor. So let's look at an example multiplication problem. When you think of multiples, think multiplication. So here we have 3 times 4 equals 12, okay? 3 and 4 are the factors, and 12 is the product, okay? So all of the products of that factor are the multiples. So oftentimes factors and multiples get confused. So let's really look at factors and then let's look at multiples. We already studied factors this year, okay? If you recall, the factors are 2 or more numbers that are multiplied to give a product, okay? So if I asked you what are the factors of 12, we know that 1 times 2 is 12, 2 times 6 is 12, 3 times 4 is 12. So these are the only factors of 12. They're all the numbers that go into 12 or are multiplied to go into 12. Okay? So again, that's a factor, the numbers that go into it. So if I asked you to list the factors of 6, we know that 1 times 6 is 6 and 2 times 3 is 6. So these are the factors. Okay? Multiples are the products with 6 as a factor. So essentially what that means is you're counting by 6s. So 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 6 is 36, and so on. Okay, multiples are infinite. They can go on forever. So the multiples of 6 would be, as if we were counting by 6s, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48. So don't get factors and multiples confused. We just looked at the multiples of 6. Let's look again at the example multiples of 3. So here it sets it up. 0 times 3 is 0. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. So we see that the multiple is the product, the answer to a multiplication problem where 3 is one of the factors, okay? So it's basically like we're counting by 3s. 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, and it could go on forever. So when we think of multiples, we really want to remember our fast facts. Since we've mastered all of our fast facts as a class and you know all of your multiplication times tables, this should be easy for you. You should be able to list all of the multiples of 4. Okay, so again, in your head, you're going to be thinking, what's 4 times 1? What's 4 times 2? What's 4 times 3? Okay, so let's start with 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is what? That's right, 12. 4 times 4 is 16, and so on. Okay, so here are all the multiples of 4 up to, we've done up to 12. So I've done up to 4 times 12. The 5s should be really, really easy for you. You learn to count by 5s at a very young age. Okay, so let's list the multiples of 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and so on. Okay, easy peasy. Those are the multiples of 5. Okay, I want you to go ahead and list the multiples of 6, 7, 8, and 9 in your math spiral right now. And then, so I want you to pause, and then you're going to check your answers in just a sec. Okay, so now I want you to check your work. So I've listed, I know it looks like a lot of crowded numbers, but I want you to check that you have all of your multiples because you should be able to quickly do those, your 6s, your 7s, your 8s, and your 9s. Once you understand what a multiple is, you should now be able to look for common multiples. So just like we looked at common factors, we're also going to be looking at common multiples, which are all the numbers other than 0 that are multiples of 2 or more numbers. Okay, so let's, first of all, just like we did with our factors, you're going to make a T-chart. So in this T-chart, we have 2 on one side and 3 on the other. So we're going to list all the multiples of 2, we'll say up to 10, and we're going to list all the multiples of 3. Once we've listed our multiples, then we can see which ones they have in common, okay? So I've gone ahead and listed all of the multiples of 2 for you and all of the multiples of 3 over here. So again, when I was listing them, all I did was I counted by 2's. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on. Same with my 3's. I counted by 3's. I thought about my fast facts. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. So what we're doing now is we're looking for the common multiples, the ones that they both have, okay? So I can quickly see that 6 is a common multiple of 2 and 3. 12 is a common multiple of 2 and 3. And 18. There are many more common multiples of 2 and 3, but those are just the ones that I've listed for now. When we were dealing with fractions, you'll remember that we were looking for the GCF, the greatest common factor. Well, with multiples, we're looking for something called the LCM, the least common multiple. So rather than the largest number that they have in common, we're looking for the smallest number that they have in common, okay? So again, I'm going to list my factors, and I'm going to look at the ones that they have in common, and then I'm going to find the smallest one, okay? So over here, I can see that 6 is the smallest multiple that they have in common, okay? The smallest number that they are both multiples of. So in this case, the LCM would be 6. So let's try this example problem together. We are going to find the common multiples of 3 and 4, and then we're going to circle the LCM. So just like we did with our factors before, we're going to make a T-chart, and we're going to put the multiples of our 3 on one side, the multiples of our 4 on the other. So pause the video and go ahead and do that now. Okay, so I've gone ahead and listed my multiples of 3. So I counted by 3's, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. And then I've listed my multiples of 4. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. You'll get really good and really fast at counting by each of the numbers. I typically list about 5 on each side, and usually within there you should be able to find the least common multiple, okay? So I see that both of the numbers have 12 as a multiple in common, and that's it. So if I kept going, I would find that they had more. But this is the smallest number that they have in common, so the LCM in this case is 12, okay? Okay, now I'd like you to try on your own to find the common multiples of 7 and 3, and then go ahead and circle the LCM. So pause the video, please list your multiples. Okay, so I've listed my multiples of 7, again counting by 7, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, and I could keep going, okay? And then I've listed my multiples of 3 on this side, which you've heard me do way too many times now. So I see that they don't have 7's in common, or 3, 6, or 14, 21. Let's see if they have a 21. Okay, so this number has a large, pretty big least common multiple. 21 is a pretty big LCM. But the LCM, the least common multiple of 7 and 3, is 21. Go ahead and try 2 and 6 on your own. This one's a lot easier. So make your T-chart, list your multiples, and then circle the smallest one that they have in common, and that's your LCM. Okay, so again, here are the steps to find the LCM. Number 1, make your T-chart, and you can also have a T-chart sometimes with more than 2 numbers. For example, you might be asked to find the LCM of 3 numbers, okay, so that your T-chart can also look like this. Then you list the multiples of each number. Then you will search and find the multiples that they have in common, and then circle the lowest or the least common multiple, the smallest number that they have in common, and that is your LCM. All right, good luck.